Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm at the Shreveport Regional getting another deck list. This is a deck that also got the invite today. What deck is this?
Zings.
Let's hop into this. Nice tokens here, by the way.
Thank you. It's me and my brother, Blake the Lotus. Shout out to Blake the Lotus. Scoop yourself 3 times. All right. So for monsters, I ran 3 Suani. Pretty much I ran 3 of all the Zings. 3 Suani, 3 Beyond, 3 Bixie, 3 Chiwin, or Chaiwin, however you want to pronounce it, and then only 2 Pulao. I elected not to run Nefarious Archfiend or Mass Chameleon or like Junk Synchron just because I felt like those cards, they really lose to the meta. Like the Junk Synchron and Mass Chameleon, they lose to the Mirror Match skill drain. Everything loses the Breakthrough skill, which is in everyone's main decks, and then also Vanity's Emptiness is running all over the place. So I felt like the Zing monsters was the best way to go with this. So that's it for the monsters. I think that was 14 monsters, 14 monsters. For the spells, I only ran, I think, 8 spells. I ran 2 Path. I think you only need to run 2 just because you don't have a lot of Zing targets and the deck doesn't move as fast as it's going to move in the next set that's coming out. So I think 2 is a maximum for me personally. I think I actually sided 1 out like 4 matches today. It's okay. It's a good recovery card. That's about it. So 2 Path, 3 MST. My deck just loses to Vanities. It auto loses the Vanities. It auto loses to Kaiser. It auto loses the Macrocosmos. All these floodgate cards that are continuous. So I felt like 3 MST in my main deck was very important and very essential. I ran 1 Dark Hole. You're running Zings. I think you have to run Dark Hole just because you can clear parts of your opponent board and you don't really lose out because if Zing dies, you just bring another card out. So it's a pretty good card. 1 Book of Moon. Winda's a card. Winda, she slows this deck down. I wouldn't really say she cripples it, but she slows it down. So if you're able to resolve a Book of Moon and get your plays going, you can even book Dark Hole and just get your plays going. It's really good. And then 1 Soul Charge. I dropped 1 at the last minute just because in playtesting I saw myself siding 1 out a lot, and I think it's just it's great as a 1 of, and you're already paying so many life points with the skill drains. I think 1 is all you need. For traps, I ran a lot of traps. 3 Creation. I ran 3. You have to run 3 because you want to see this card. This card sets off all your synchro plays pretty much. 3 Skill Drain. I elected to run 3 over 2 because you absolutely have to see this card. And against the Evil Swarm matchup, against the Shadal matchup, Winda and Ophion are too powerful, so resolving this card is very essential. I ran 2D Prison. Same thing. Actually, in the mirror match, it's pretty good. If they want to crash monsters, like if they want to crash Suanis or Beyonds with you can deprison their monster and they just lose out. You can deprison the Shadals, they get removed, they don't get their effects. So I really like this card a lot. You take care of the hands, because I think the hands can actually make the Zings miss timing. So 2 deprison. 2 Wiretap. My worst matchup is Stellar Knight. So these were mainly for not only the emptinesses, which I explained earlier, but it was also for the Stellar Novas. The Stellar Nova cards, they really hurt this deck. So the wiretaps were essential. And usually the only time I lose is if my opponent warnings me. If my opponent warnings my monster, that's the only time I lose. So if I can wiretap it, I win. I'll get to it. 2 Vanities. I feel like this card is just a staple. I'm not really going to get into it. I feel like it's a staple for the format. Everyone should be running 2 or 3. That's just the way the format is. 2 Breakthrough Skills. Same thing with the Book of Moon and the other card I'm going to show you in a bit. Same with the Book of Moon and the skill drains. You have to negate the Window. You have to negate the Ophion. You have to negate the Stellar Knight monsters. So I think monster negation is really important in my deck. That's the way I win. I have to stop their monsters because their monster effects are the only way they're going to get over my monsters. So 2 Breakthrough. 1 Torrential. Same thing with Dark Hole. It's a staple in Zings. You have to run it in Zing. Or some Burning Abyss run it, but Zing you have to use this card. 1 Compulse. Same purpose as Book of Moon serves. It takes care of the window. And then my tech choice for today was Zing Unleashed. For you guys who don't know what this card does, while this card is face up, your opponent has to attack your monsters if they're able to. So if they have attack position monsters, they have to attack you. And its other effect is while it's face up, during either player's main or battle phase, you can send this card to synchro using 1 or more Zing monsters you control. So it's good because if you have like a field of monsters and you go flip summon, one of the little guys, and your opponent goes activate vanities. If this card is face up, you can chain and you can still synchro. And let's say you go into a Boxia, you can float 3 of their cards, let them keep the vanities. Like if you're playing against Shadal, let them keep the vanities, and then they lose out because their only out to that is going to be Shadal Fusion. If you let them keep the vanities, then they're not going to have it. So, to Unleash. This card won me a lot of games, also because I had big defensive monsters and they had to keep ramming into them. I had good attack monsters, ram into them. They ran into deep prisons when they didn't want to. It's just really good. When you catch your opponent sleeping, this card comes in really hot. I'll go to the side. I won't get into the side in detail. I'll just talk about everything. 2 Destinato. Like I said, the vanities and Kazuki Coliseums, all the floodgate cards, they're really big problems. So it's really important that I destroy the cards. And also, I can make plays. I can just set a card. Like I could set a creation. So on my turn, if I want to Dark Hole him, I Dark Hole chain a creation, and I'll just go off and win. 2 Memory of an Adversary. I didn't use this card once today. I mainly put it in for Hat just because my matchup against that is really slow, and I would like to just take their Mermillo or whichever one it is that pops the back row and especially pop the back row and just start to go from there. And because I have the level 1 tuner, I can make any synchro I want, almost any level. So I can take their monster and just make cards with it. Triple Shadow Mirror and Triple Light Mirror. I have to run 3. Both of these decks are the top 2 decks right now, including Burning Abyss, and these cards just destroy those decks. They can't really do anything unless they have the wiretap or unless they have the MST to take care of it. So 3, I have to run 3 of these. That's the way I keep up with the format. 3 in the band played on. I chose to run this card because I didn't have Stygian Dirge, but it proved to be almost as good. It slows down the Stellar Knight matchup drastically. They summon Altair, you activate this card, they can't special. They summon Vega, you activate this card, they can't special. They have a Call of the Haunted with a face-up Deneb, they can't special. Same with Burning Abyss, they can't Tour Guide. So I would, in hindsight, I would play Dirge over this card, but it was still okay. It wasn't bad. And then my last 2 were 2 Puppet Plants. I ran Puppet Plant just because of the Stellar Knight matchup and the Shadal matchup. They're all warriors and spellcasters besides Construct. So I can take their monsters and I can make cards with it. One game I took I drew double of these and I had 2 of my light tuners on board. I took his Beast and his Mathematician and I made synchros with it so he wouldn't get his Beast effect or his Mathematician effect. So it was a really good card. I would probably still side deck this card. I liked it a lot. Going on to the extra 1 Formula Synchron. A lot of times I ran 2 Palau. Some people run 1, and I think it's too often will this situation come up where you have this guy and Palau and you want to net an extra card. If you can net an extra card and then you draw like one of your floodgates, like your Skill Drain or your Vanities in the main deck. You draw that and then you synchro into your big guy. You Ying Zing Path, you draw more cards, and then you just set back row, your opponent loses. So I like the fact that I can net cards off of this. This card was really good, I'll never drop it. 1 Armory Arm, this is good if you Soul Charge, you can get over an Ophion, you Soul Charge, go 2 cards into Armory Arm, equip it to one of your monsters, attack over Ophion. I haven't used it yet, but maybe once, and it's been okay. It's an okay card. I might drop it. Balmung, this card was great because the only way you're going to make it is with Beyond and Chaiwin, and Beyond makes it to where your monsters can't be destroyed by battle. So you put him in defense, he can't be destroyed by battle. All your opponent can do is either Castell it or destroy it by a card effect. And if they destroy it by a card effect, you get a card off of it from your graveyard, so it's pretty good. 1 Samsara, this card is amazing. It is so great. It's when you sit on this and Ying Zing Unleash, they either have to keep attacking or they set their monsters in defense and then you set up and you explode. So it's a good card. I like it. 1 Armades, I wish I ran 2. There's so many times I wanted to go into the 2nd Armades and I had to just settle for going into my Samsara instead. So it was a great card. I liked it a lot. Onto my 6s. I ran 1 Paladin Zectron. Alright. I only ran this card because a friend made me do it, and because I didn't have another level 6 in its place to run. I didn't have an HTS. I would run an HTS over this card. But if you're playing Needle Ceiling or Torrential Tribute, and you know how to play your Ying Zings and manipulate their effects around your cards, then this card actually can net save you or even like net you some advantage. So it's not bad, but I wouldn't run this in hindsight. 1 Goyo Guardian. This card is MVP of the deck. Besides one other card, this card is MVP of the deck. I've taken a Construct, I've taken a Leo, just because he comes out at 3,300 attack, and he's great. Black Rose Dragon. It's my only 7. You kind of have to run it until the new cards come out. It's my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card, so if I run a Synchro deck, I'm going to use this card. Stardust Spark, better than Stardust Dragon. You're bringing out your monsters with buffs. If you use Stardust, regular Stardust Dragon in Tribute, he won't have his buffs anymore. So use this card over it. It's so much better. It's just a great card. On Scrap Dragon, it synergizes too well with the deck. You have to run it. You destroy one of your monsters, destroy one of their cards, bring out a monster, kill them.
Civilian again.
2 Boxia. This card is the other MVP. So many times I've made this card on my opponent's turn with 4 attributes. I shuffle in 4 of their cards and I just win. If I make this on my turn, I always set myself up to make another one so I can shuffle in more cards into their deck. So this card is just great. Only run it at 2. You don't need 3 because you run Path. And so you can recycle him back into the extra. And when the new stuff comes out, he'll probably still be at 2, if not go down to about 1. 1 Mistworm, he's kind of like your watered down Boxia who's also like a level 9. So if you don't have the right levels, you can go into him and bounce cards on your opponent's turn. It's really great. You have to be careful with the way you activate these guys though, because if you activate them at the wrong time, then your monsters that you're bringing out, they'll miss timing on their effects. So just be careful. And then 1 Leo. I didn't make him today, but through playtesting, he was really good because I would just put him on board. He's unaffected by spells, traps. Good luck to your opponent. They can't do anything. And then my final extra deck card was Blood Mephist. Shout out to Michael Clazel for letting me borrow it. Shout out to Taylor Wallace for giving me the idea. This card is just fantastic when you make it. I only made it once. But it's fantastic when you make it because he comes out almost invincible. Your opponent burns, and if they can't deal with it, then they just lose. So, great card. And that's it.
That concludes the profile. Thank you very, very much.